With the book We Don't Eat Our Classmates by Ryan T. Higgins, we're going to be shifting gears from the more serious topics of Journey and Milo Imagines a World to the humorous approaches of Ryan Higgins, another Caldecott winning illustrator and author, about how children behave in a classroom. Why does humor, both in text and illustration, work? We all know what humor is. We know about humor before we can talk. You can make a pre-verbal child laugh. They can experience humor. But even as college professors, we struggle to articulate why something is funny. This is a problem that interested business ethics professor Dr. Peter McGraw, and led him to come up with his benign violation theory of humor. If you watch this very brief video, he explains it. I actually recommend watching this longer TED Talk where he goes more fully into this theory, which I think is fascinating. But basically what he is saying is we experience humor when something is both benign, that is not threatening, and a violation, that is something that would potentially be threatening, and we experience those two things simultaneously. So, how is someone falling down a flight of stairs funny? Well, it's funny if, one, we don't know them. That makes it more benign. And two, they get up afterwards and they're fine. Then the violation, the fall, is funny because nobody is hurt. Now, that theory also explains why something might be funny to one audience and not to another. If you know someone who has been seriously hurt falling down the stairs, seeing someone fall down the stairs, even if they're not hurt, might not be funny because what it brings up is your memory of a time when falling down the stairs was simply a violation, was simply dangerous, and someone was seriously hurt. Also explains why kids might laugh at other kids doing something dangerous, potentially getting hurt, but living. Whereas a parent does not find that amusing because why the heck would you let your kid do that in the first place? Do you realize how dangerous that could be? So, this theory of benign violation is something that's really clearly illustrated in Ryan Higgs' story, and it starts with the title page. So in the title page, we have Penelope, the primary character, talking to the reader, and she says, hey, you're never going to be eaten by a T-Rex because they're extinct. Don't worry, I promise, it's fine. That admission there in the cover is now making everything that happens in the rest of the book, that is all these times that Penelope wants to eat her classmates, does eat her classmates, spits them back out, benign, because the child reader knows it's never going to happen to them, and it frees them up to laugh at the experience and feel it as a benign violation, because, of course, eating your classmates is always a violation, something that can be funny. But why is humor engaging? What is it about humor that draws us in? Well, this is something else that McGraw gets to in his TED Talk. It's not only that it maybe engages our sense of curiosity or wonder. How did that happen? Why did that happen? Could I do that to somebody else and make them laugh? It's also because of chemical reasons. Humor produces endorphins. Endorphins feel good. In fact, it's not just humor, but the act of smiling not only produces endorphins in the person who's smiling, but if you see someone smile, you get a small kick of endorphins. The same kind of endorphins that you experience when you smile, and I don't mean the fake smile that you give when you're trying to pretend everything's okay at Thanksgiving with lots of people. No, I mean like a real smile that you give when something is genuinely happy or exciting, or you really are having a good time. Though that chemical reaction, that feeling, is also produced with humor. And it draws you in naturally to what is going on in the story. So that is the sort of science of humor and how it's working, perhaps physically, perhaps psychologically, on the child reader. But how is Higgins' book inducing this? Well, we've looked at the cover, but can we go any further? So as you're looking at these very cartooned illustrations, including Penelope, who is, we note, depicted in very light colors, pink, orange, and white, which are also colors that are associated with sort of liveliness, happiness, but also notice the sort of soft curves that are used on Penelope's body, and that large head, the large eyes, and then the tiny little body that goes with it. How does that visually impact us as viewers, as readers? Well, big eyes as primates always get to us. When we see big eyes, we make an immediate connection. When we see soft curves, we think happy figure rather than, say, dangerous figure. The next thing we're going to be looking at is a really quick YouTube video where an illustrator turns Disney villains into potential Disney heroes just through her visual depiction of that character. Think about that, and think about the way that Penelope is portrayed in this book. Do you know how hard it is to try to get this in the camera along with your face? Yeah, that's something we're going to be exploring this semester. But thinking about how does this work? How is it that we can read images and we can read them before we're even verbally literate? How does that send a message to us? How do we understand these visual codes? Well, we understand them because of what's everything that's around us. We understand them because we've been taught this, but we also understand them because they often tap into psychological or sociological parts of our realities. Thinking about that can allow you to analyze a children's story at a whole new level. And that is what you're going to be doing in your next discussion question, which is you're going to use one of the lists that we've been introduced to in Essentials for Children's Literature, and you are going to apply it to one of the books that we have read today, or this week, excuse me, and think about why or how these things engage our student readers. So, look forward to seeing what you post on that.